commercial construction coffee talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David, of course, and I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. This is what it used to look like when we were printing, but we're 100% digital now. Anyway, JLO on the cover. This was a great project up in the Music City in Nashville, only about 3 hours away. Anyway, I've got, there's Chris from Mammoth Holdings above my cover, Tim Alton, the chicken guy. Oh, there's JLO too. Got an Asian grocer out of the Pacific Northwest. I can never pronounce the name, but it looks like an awesome store, really, really chic. So that's my next cover. And we just put out the last issue and had a hotelier on there, and people are just gobbling up on the internet. Just look at the analytics every day. It's just getting more opens and more open. So anyway, just exciting stuff coming in here. You know, it's the dog days of summer here, almost the middle of August. School's been in for 2 weeks. Traffic's back. The school buses are on the road. And hopefully, well, the clouds are coming in. So hopefully I won't get another boomer. The power's going out about 10 times today. On, off, on, off. I mean, I'm surprised all my stuff's not fried. Actually, last week, my router got fried. And I have it on a surge strip. So it's just been every day in and out. I've lived here 20 years. I've never seen anything like it. Power goes out, the internet goes out, the internet comes back on, the internet comes out, it's off. The power goes in, the power goes off, you know. So, but thank God for the power strip, because I think everything would have been fried if I didn't even have that on there. So what's amazing is I called my, my internet provider, and I said, hey, is there an outage? They said, no. I said, well, I think my my router's fried. So they checked it, they tried to ping it. Nah, you can't get us. I'm on deadline. I'm trying to get my issue up on the line. So I go, look, can I go down there and exchange it and have the tech guy come out here tomorrow? Yeah, sure. So I go all the way down there. And then when I'm standing in line, I get a text in the mail. Oh, your power outage has been fixed. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to freak out. I drove all the way down here and stood in line. And now you tell me the thing's not even right. No, I don't know what that is. And so it's just a crazy, crazy world out there in this country. All I know is every day is an adventure, you know? So anyway, I hope everybody's staying cool out there. If you're out there on the construction site, make sure you're staying hydrated, drinking lots of water, and ultimately being safe. So with that said, construction projects, it's all about project management, time, beating your budget, giving the keys to the end user. And one of the most amazing things I think in technology that's come in over the last, just in general, how quickly it's happened. And if you hear any drills, I'm doing a little construction out there. I'm getting some tile installed while I'm doing this. So sorry about that, but we're doing construction here too. It is drone technology. And, it's amazing what you can do with drones. It's not just making pretty videos and whatever. You can do permitting, you can look at the top of the building, you can, look at a whole site, different heights. It's an amazing thing. And a lot of people have taken advantage of that technology and helping with their project success. So today, I have Mr. Brian Young. He's the Director of Enterprise Solutions at DroneUp. He's a sales guy, and he's out of Indianapolis, Indiana. So Brian, say hello to our audience out there, Commercial Construction Coffee Talk.
Hey, David, thanks for having me.
Hey, we appreciate it. The way this works is you got to tell us your story. So you got to tell us where you grew up, got any brothers, sisters, where you went to school, if you played any sports, and then how you ended up at DroneUp. And then we'll talk about the last 24 months and lessons learned, and then one positive thought or phrase, and then we'll close it out. So with that said, the floor is yours. Tell us your story, Mr. Young.
All right, thanks, David. Yeah, so my story starts back in Western Massachusetts, from a small town called Dalton. And speaking of paper and publications, they made the paper for American currency, and have had the contract since the mid 1800s. So cotton fiber paper, all the mills, that was the central focus of our town of 7,000 people. And had a great childhood. The area is built on tourism. My dad worked for GE Plastics, and sports were prevalent, and I played soccer from a very young age, all the way into college as well. But I have an older sister, and just a great place to grow up in the Appalachian Mountains, and pre cell phone. So area
code 413, right?
It's right, 413.
Yeah, there you go.
You got it.
No, I know them all, you know, so go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, the home of Norman Rockwell too. So it really felt like a Norman Rockwell-esque childhood experience. So a lot of friends, family, but we all left after about 1998. But yeah, I played soccer throughout childhood and wanted to move away for a couple years. Found Butler University
Ooh,
in
Butler, cool.
Indianapolis and went to a great business school there. Completed it in 4 years, luckily, and met my wife. And I have 3 kids, 2 dogs, and 2 cats. So that's my story.
So, you know, people have to know when the paper mill, if the wind blows a certain way, you get the paper, you know, aroma. Am I correct?
A little bit, yeah. It has a hint, especially near, we have a large river that runs through town, used to power the mills. So the aroma is very potent, I would say,
Yeah.
around that area. So it's, you get used to it after a while, but like any other manufacturing town, it rubs off on you. I think I might have a little bit on it still. So
I did my summit in Jacksonville in 2020, and they have a big paper mill there. And when I was going in to do my site visit, I'm driving along and I'm in the Uber, and I was like, "What is that smell?" He's like, "Oh, that's the paper mill." I'm like, "Oh, I'm a publisher. I should know that, you know."
yeah,
But anyway, you know,
very,
it's one
very
of the things.
distinct.
Yeah, listen, I'm in Georgia. I'm in chicken heaven. So the
Yeah.
bottom line is, if the wind's blowing the wrong way, you know it's the chicken coops that are north of me. You know, it's just the reality of it. So hey, paper, chicken,
Yeah.
you know, everything's necessary. So you went you're in Indianapolis. You graduate school. You get married. What did you do that right after school and then leading up to DroneUp?
Yeah, so I was a finance major. So naturally, I ended up in sales. Fast forward to now, but worked for a few different companies. I worked for a commercial printer out of Indianapolis, Synveo, and so they printed a lot of annual reports, calendars, high-end publications. Cut my teeth on cost accounting and enjoyed that for quite a while. Worked for Allison Transmission in a finance capacity, and had an opportunity to work for a management consulting firm here in Indianapolis, and developed cost reduction consulting within that CPA firm. So we would renegotiate supply contracts for customers of the firm. So kind of help to offset the high prices of our accounting services. So did that for a couple of years, and was the CFO for an aviation company here on the west side. And then the recession hit of '07, and we ended up laying off almost half the company. And so I had an opportunity to invest in myself, my skill set, and what was a very interesting time with the recession. I decided to go out on my own and start my own management consulting firm.
Oh, nice.
Doing the same thing I was doing at the CPA firm previously. So with my wife's blessing, and after a few months of telling her I can do this and finally seeing the first dollar, I made a go of it for about 4.5 years, and really cut my teeth on all things sales. Sales 101 is when you're eating what you kill, as they say.
Oh yeah.
And enjoyed that for quite a long time, and then wanted to go back into aviation somehow, some way. Aviation has always been my passion since a young age, and I got in through the back door, as they say, and worked for a regional airline company here in Indianapolis, and was the supply chain director. And then Honeywell Aerospace recruited me. It was a good fit, and I was the sales manager there for almost, 5.5 years, selling APUs, weather radar upgrades, any type of enhancement to an airliner was my primary focus. And then found out about DroneUp, and didn't know a whole lot about drones at the time, but I knew DroneUp was in the news. So LinkedIn publications, news articles about DroneUp were popping up in my world, and I dug in and found a open position, director of sales opportunity. And for me, at this point in my career, it was the perfect fit. Sure. To stay in aerospace, stay in aviation, but go towards a new frontier in a brand new space. And so luckily convinced a few people that I'd be a good fit for the job, and here I am.
Do you have your wings?
I don't. I
I have
almost
to
have them.
ask.
I almost have them, actually. I
Yeah.
almost have them.
Hey, listen, my son's in aviation. He's just finished his A&P testing. He works for Boeing, and he works out at the Charleston plant. And Boeing just delivered their first 787 to American, and huge hurrah, blah blah blah. And anyway, so I can totally relate to CPU and all this stuff, because he's in aviation. And anyway. Drones, they kind of came out of nowhere. It was like the wild west. People were like, what the heck is that thing? Oh, we don't need that thing. And then little by little, but now it's just absolutely if you're not a construction company and you don't have a drone or a pilot that you can contract out to get your jobs done, you're missing the boat. I
Yeah.
mean, even my photographer for my events, he would have the drone in the room, and he could get the 360 shot and the above shot. I mean, it is just unbelievable. And it's amazing. I mean, some of the stuff that when I watch the drone races that they're doing on there, I mean, you got to be a serious pilot to navigate that thing, even though you got the goggles on, and all that. But drone technology, when it first came out, people were like, no. But now it's just like, hey, a 2x4, pretty much. Am I right?
Right. Yeah. So it evolved, from really from a military platform. As a lot of our technology evolved from military platforms and aspects. So, went from a high-end military role to almost a hobbyist market. I think when most people heard about drones, it was at their local, convenience store, or they saw it in the toy section and they bought it for their child. And if they were like me, Christmas morning arrives, we go outside to fly it, and it just keeps going. I kept hitting the auto land feature on it, and this was many years ago, and it didn't auto land. It just kept going, and with my son's tears flowing, we tried to go after it, and we kissed it goodbye.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience. But fast forward to today, it's a highly advanced tool, as you mentioned accurately. It can do a lot of things, video streaming, image capture. We use drones primarily for imaging and sensing capabilities. And, the construction industry was an early adopter of drone technology. So a lot of firms going out and, buying an out of the box solution, very capable drone with some pretty interesting features to it. Some of it rivaled what was on the space shuttle. It had that technology in the palm of your hand. But I think people wanted that vantage point of an eye in the sky. And, not to use Alan Parsons' hit song of 1982, but it's essentially what we are. We are the eye in the sky. And, we look at large, complex construction projects. It's a rapid, precise way to evaluate land, to survey land, to find out if the land is conducive to, the type of building you're creating. Environmental impacts. We can deploy a whole host of features through the camera, including AI and LiDAR technology, to get a real good glimpse into what kind of land we have, and assist our clients in making informed decisions.
I look at it just as a pure safety issue. If you gotta get up on the roof or up on the side of a building or whatever, and you have to do it quickly, you put the drone up there. You don't have to worry about your crew and harnesses and all this other stuff, let alone if there's a leak someplace there up on the roof. I'm using hypotheticals here, but it's so much easier to just put a drone up there, boom, boom, and then you can find it. You get in the photographer, it's just like your cell phone. You can take better pictures than you can on a camera on a cell phone these days. So I just look at it as, if you're a contractor, or even if you're an architect or an engineer or design build, anybody that's in that construction mode, if you don't have a drone in your arsenal, in your tool belt, it's just like having a hammer or a screwdriver. You don't have a drone. God, you got to, either find someone that has their wings and that's local there that can help you, or go and get your own wings, because you'll be amazed at what you can do. And one of my son had some of his friends from Charleston come over for a concert this weekend. Anyway, they stayed at the house. And the one guy is a video guy, and he was showing us some of his videos. I mean, he's dirt biking up in the mountains and on the boat, and he did this thing like a welcome thing for Charleston. I mean, it was awesome. Put music to it. It was, I mean, I was like, we got to watch that again,
Yeah.
you know, but it was all done by drone, all done by drone. You know, he's only like 23 and, you know, he's got his wings and, you know, that's what he does. You know, he's a drone videographer. That's what he does.
Yeah. It's and to your point, so it's very important to acknowledge the fact that there is a pilot certification. So much like a private pilot license, all of our pilots, all 22,000 pilots in our network, are certified Part 107. So they've gone through a rigorous course training to understand how to fly and where to fly. As we know, the airspace is federally regulated and controlled. So safety is paramount. And you led with safety in the opening comments of this podcast, and we live and breathe that first. You know, we are a pioneer in this space, so we want to get it right and you know, have the most qualified pilots so that we are flying safely for our customers every day. So, yeah, for those that are you know, listening that you know want a good side gig or a side hustle, go get your 107 and give us a call. But we have a large network, somewhat like the other, you know, the Ubers of the world and whatnot. We do a great job with connecting pilots to missions.
So how many pilots do you have in your stable?
So yeah, total of 22,000 W2 and W9 pilots. So we have a mixture of full-time pilots and
National, you know.
International. We have good density all across the country. And when we get a job to fly, you know, the first thing we look at is pilot density. And, you know, we'll, you know, convey to the pilot what type of job it is, what kind of mission. So is it a video mission? You know, is it a 360 capture? Is it an ortho mosaic? You know, and we'll find a person that can fly it in a relatively short span of time. And they'll confirm with us they can fly it on that date at that hour. And, you know, we capture the images, the videos, we bring it back for processing, and then we provide it to our customers, depending on what they want us to do with those images and videos.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
22,000, man. That's a lot. It's a lot of pilots and a lot of man hours, you know, flying hours. So
yeah, it really is.
So like, as usual, looking back 24 months or so, add a couple months to that, everything's humming along. March 2020, shut down. No one knows what's going to go on. You know, now we're 2 years later, you know, we're basically out of it. And, you know, we're coming into the end of the Q3, going into Q4, and before you know it, it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, boom, this year's over. You know, what lessons did you learn, you know, over those 24 months, and how did your company, you know, kind of deal with it? You know, I mean, I'm sure some of the projects that your clients were essential, so you were flying anyway. But you know, give us kind of a 30,000 foot drone view of what those 24 months were like.
Yeah, it actually reaffirmed our business model to a great degree. So aspects like remote monitoring and progress reports, we'd already been performing that function for construction companies. So really, we were socially distant, the pilot going out and flying that mission. And, remote monitoring, we could provide, intel back to a construction company that had maybe multiple sites. This was one of many in their portfolio. And we could provide them real-time information, analytics to make informed decisions from. So we got a lot of business and a lot of interest in our product because, like I said before, it lends itself to the remote aspects. So the remote aspects of a drone flying over land and surveying the land and providing that intel back to headquarters in Los Angeles. So we could be flying a mission in Chicago and providing intel back to the project managers, construction managers back in California. So it really was a spike in business for us. And I have to mention that we are multifaceted in our business model. So flight services, which is what we're describing here, is one aspect of what we do. So we also provide drone delivery for a large big box company out of Arkansas. And we also provide airspace awareness through a UTM product called AirMap, which we acquired this year. So, it's been a landmark year for us, but it was built on the last 24 months, to your point. And we've had rapid growth. We've done the last mile delivery for that company in Arkansas, who's a major investor in DroneUp. We expanded our pilot force of 22,000. And I think we also expanded the construction company workforce as well. So it's one benefit and element of what we do is we take a small construction company and we expand their workforce through our product. So we can get a lot more insight by not adding labor, but by deploying, the drone over that site and collecting that intel.
Really interesting. I've heard all sorts of stories over the last 24 months, but the most amazing thing is everybody kind of was flexible. They adapted and they just said, God, it just changed our company, for the better. We learned how to become more productive, more efficient, whether it was, whether they were remote or if they were still coming into the office. Also depending on what state you're in and what the regulations was. But construction, listen, you can't build a hospital in a week. And a lot. So many of these projects were essential that the construction market really, here in Georgia, they just kept on building. They had 3 or 4 projects right down the road. They just cranked it. They just had to make sure that the protocols were taken on the site so they could keep everybody safe. But and those protocols are probably going to stay in place anyway. I mean, it was it was a good thing, because it just made you listen. You want to keep your core business, which is your labor, safe, no matter what they're doing. And the same holds true with your 22,000 pilots. The only difference is they're not getting on. They're not getting in the plane. They're just they're just flying from the ground, but still there's still an issue. So
we have one important note too. So we're very, very proud of the fact that we've flown over 101,000 plus hours without a safety incident. So again, it goes back to the type of training we have at DroneUp. So it's not only safe, for our pilots, but for the crews that providing information too. So to your point, deploying a drone to, instead of having somebody scale, a scaffold to go up to the top of a building to take some photos, we can do it instantly. So the safety mitigation aspect is enormous. To your point.
Yeah, it's like anything else. You don't want to get a fender bender in your car. You don't want to ruin your airplane. You don't want to ruin the drone. So the pilots, they're looking at it. Hey, that's my Rolls Royce. I don't want anything to happen to it. So they're very, very careful. You don't want anything to happen to it. I mean, obviously, you always see if we haven't had an accident in so many years and so forth. See all that. It's the same kind of gig with DroneUp.
Yes.
Actually, there's a big drone show coming up in Las Vegas right after, I think it's over Labor Day weekend. I just promoted it. The UAV show. Are you familiar with that? The big.
Yeah, Com UAV, and we have
I'm a sponsor. The guy.
We'll see you out there.
Yeah, well, I'm not going out there, but I put my magazine on the magazine table, and they even though I'm digital, I have a little QR code I put up there. But anyway, the marketing guy called me last year, maybe it was the year before, and he's like, "Oh man, you got to be a sponsor. This is perfect for you." And I'm like, And I think they did it at the Rio the first year. Anyway, so I've been a sponsor the last couple of years of the drone thing, and he said last year's event went great. A lot of growth and a lot more people. And this year they've got pretty good attendance. So tough time doing it right over Labor Day weekend. But listen, the pilots, hey, you want to go learn, and that's if you want to do anything in drone, that event's coming up in about 3 weeks, and or maybe it's 4. They're about 3.5 weeks. Anyway, but it's everything drone. You can imagine. You'll see military guys walking there, regular old folks, construction guys trying to learn, and anything you want to know drone is at that event. So it's if you want to find out, I have an ad in my current issue. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you what page it is because I want you to look to the whole magazine, but I have an ad in there for it. So anyway, if you got nothing to do and you want to go to Vegas and maybe do a little gambling, go to the drone show. You'll have fun, man. It's a very cool gig. You'll see everything. So you guys don't exhibit, you walk it, or do you have
we'll have a small exhibit, and we've actually done quite a few shows this year. So depending on the type of show, we can bring one of our flight operations hubs. So we have a hub that we house pilots. All of the systems to manage a flight are housed in this hub, and it looks like kind of a cargo ship container, if you will. And inside are the brains of the flight operation. Even though our drones fly autonomously, very safely, we don't have necessarily thumbs on joysticks. In some cases we will, but the drone obviously is capable of flying, itself in a very intelligent way. So we'll have a hub there at the show, or we'll have a small booth. But I like, walking the space and getting to know people. But yeah, ComUAV is fantastic, and it's one of the marquee events for sure.
Oh yeah, and you listen, you'll see big drones, small drones. You need propellers, you need this, batteries. They got it all there. So if you're a drone junkie, you got to go there. But if you're a novice and you want to find out more about it, by all means, this would be a really good place to do it. And actually, I definitely, that's on one of my to-do lists is I want to, my kid's in aviation, obviously. So we were just talking about, I'm like, we should get a drone. We should get our wings, I mean, you're right there at Boeing. They have a drone division there at Charleston. And I'm like, you should just go and get your licensing there, and let them pay for it and have your wings, and we'll get ourselves our little toy, and we can go on the lake and, do our thing. And, so I'd like to, I'm going to get my wings, so.
Yeah, there are many applications. Like I said, so my group, there's 6 key verticals. Construction is the largest, but we also we have utilities, gas, maritime, government. So a lot of infrastructure projects, bridge inspections, any type of facade inspection, including cell towers and whatnot. But really, construction is, in terms of the life cycle of a construction project, there are 7 different phases roughly of the construction project where you'll find a drone, or hopefully the construction company will utilize the drone from beginning to end. And like I said, one of them is the pre-construction and design phase, which I talked about at the beginning. Topographic mapping, land surveys. This is all essential when you're planning that complex and large construction project. Your due diligence, if you will, doing it with a drone, and it's rapid, precise, cost effective versus sending people out there, the surveyors, to survey the land and whatnot. We talked about the safety aspect. So once you have boots on the ground on the site, we provide the safety aspect too, of either performing human missions with the drone, or looking out for potential hazards before they happen.
Mm-hmm.
We have a good vantage point. So before something escalates into a serious issue for on-site personnel, we can typically capture that. Even like volumetric measurements. So when the dump trucks come in, they dump rock and aggregate or dirt or sand, we can use a drone to measure what that volume is very accurately. So we have 3D modeling and photogrammetry software that can tell us right away how much was dumped. And this is good for the contractor that's dumping it. They get paid based on the amount. So instead of eyeballing it, licking your finger, putting it up in the air and whatnot, we can tell you exactly, what you have there on site as well. Asset tracking. So, we all know that 2 things happen with equipment. They sit idle sometimes, or sometimes they get stolen. So we can tell you really quickly if that Caterpillar, that D9, is sitting there idle for weeks on end, and your ROI is diminishing because it's sitting idle, or the D9 is missing. Hopefully that won't ever happen, but if we fly the same pattern, which we will every single time, so you'll get an exact match from day 1 to day 30 to day 90. We can overlay different types of progress reports on top of one another and find out where things are. Is that retention pond in the right spot? And I have a good story about that, how in one case it wasn't. So but yeah, so the design and plan comparison, like I just mentioned, using that overlay of the CAD drawing on an ortho photo, remote monitoring and progress reports, and the final structure inspection, which is the cherry on top. After it's built, getting that 360 scan, zooming into even little minuscule cracks that are potentially 5 to 6 centimeters vertically or 2 to 3 centimeters horizontally. We have the technology to zoom in and find that intel. So
What's over the last 24 months, what's one of the coolest projects that you did with the drone, you think?
yeah, I mean, so it goes back to a large apartment complex in Virginia. So this is the story where we found a discrepancy. So we provided a construction progress monitoring report on a weekly basis to a large apartment complex company, and it was a new build. We monitored from undeveloped site through the groundwork, vertical construction, through the project's final completion. We even took the final marketing videos for that project. But early on in the project, we overlaid their site plans on top of the processed orthomosaic. So an orthomosaic is, think of it this way, it's a bunch of stitched together photos to give you that large picture, to scan across, to zoom in quickly. So in this case, we found that a retaining pond was not installed in the correct location. They were able to make the necessary adjustments on the front end instead of the back end. So it saved them a lot of money, but a lot of rework as well. So, again, rework is where projects tend to go over budget. So in this case, we found it right away. It could have caused massive delays and required more labor, of course, in this situation. So that was one where we had corrective action right away. And even same project, the door on one of the sides of the buildings opened up to the middle of an ADA ramp that was being installed. And so we caught this early, and we fixed the error. We identified the error. We provide that data and intelligence back to the construction company. And again, prevented rework, costly delays. But so really at the end of it, that was one of our best reviews, was the fact that they could say for sure, because they lived it and they saw it, that DroneUp, helped them stay on time, on budget, provided that intelligence immediately and rapidly to make that correction without having to have an embarrassing mistake at the end and eat that cost. So
yeah, a lot more affordable than to hire the drone and to rip up an ADA ramp and so forth, right?
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, it's using the tool to its fullest extent, and getting a major fan and cheerleader with DroneUp at the same time. So
Hey, listen, having the drone, all you GCs out there, better to have one and find that defect or whatever it might be than having to rip up a whole ADA ramp, before all that's done, because you got to buy more material to replace it all. The drone will pay for itself. I'm a sales guy. I always tell people, hey, you make one sale running an ad in the magazine, it'll pay for your entire year. Same thing with the drone. Invest in the drone. Believe me, there's going to be a project where you're going to be able to, it'll pay for itself. It's an investment. Your ROI will be there before you even know it. So benefits too.
Yeah, so there are a couple, but a few that come to mind. Again, we talked about the speed of the drone and the accuracy of the drone versus the human element in this case, in the construction vertical. It's cost effective. There's a time savings element. The story that I provided, again, perfect example of providing cost savings throughout the entire life cycle of the construction project. Reproducible. So what we do is we provide a flight that's reproducible, and it's a visual aid that promotes communication within all parties of the construction company and their own customers. So it's a communication tool that is utilized to a large degree. Again, we talked about the precise elements of a drone. So again, using GPS points, flying over a piece of land, zooming in on certain aspects quickly, and providing anything from AI to LiDAR on those images to find, where we need to add some insulation in the roof, even, some hot and cold spots on the roof at the end of the project. Very precise. And then of course, I'll end with safety, and we start and end with safety. We want to protect people, protect workers, and make sure there are no incidents associated with that project. So again, as we fly and as we provide the service to our customers, safety is foremost on our minds.
So if you were gonna leave our audience with one positive thought or phrase, for all you junkies out there, but have their wings or they don't have their wings or they're thinking about it, what would it be as we kind of go in towards the the end of the year here?
Yeah, end of the year, and we talked a lot about, again, automation and drones, but I want to make an important point that people make the difference. People behind the scenes at DroneUp, we have some of the most talented people you ever want to work with that have left lucrative careers or careers in other industries for this drone industry, and they saw the benefits, the people, the fun that we were having, and also using a lot of technology at the same time. However, it still takes a team that cares, that motivates, that has each other's backs. And, it's that human element, that human quality that is still vastly important in DroneUp, what we do, and our customers. The human element can never be overshadowed. And this is just one tool, a complementary tool, a tool that may take over some certain aspects. But at the end of the day, it's the people that matter most.
Hey, listen, I'm an athlete, so whether you have a golf club, a tennis racket, lacrosse stick, hockey stick, look, they all can be made out of the best materials, whatever. But it's the person that's going to use it that's going to make the difference. So it's just that it's like having a really, really cool tool, and when to use it, and then you take care of it, you'll have it for a long, long time. And so. Very, 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 very good stuff. I'm right there with you. It's all about the people, because, it's just like anything else. Like my son went into maintenance on air because even during the downturn, when all the planes were sitting on the flight line, they all had to be maintained. They just don't
Exactly.
sit there, you know? So it's,
Same is true here. Same is true here.
Yeah.
Drones, sometimes they
yeah,
have
you
an
gotta make sure the
issue,
batteries are charged and the things are, well, whatever it might be, so.
Yeah.
If any of our audience out there in Commercial Construction Coffee Talk wanted to get in touch with DroneUp, how would they reach out to you or your firm?
Yeah, so go to our website. It's www.droneup.com. My personal email address is brian.young, brian.young @droneup.com.
Sorry about my dogs, everybody out there. They're just protecting the house because it's almost dinner time here. So, well, it's getting there. So they're doing their thing. So anyway, listen, if you're interested in drone, or you want to become one of their 22,000 plus pilots or so forth, by all means, give Brian a call, reach out, and or email him, and you can talk drones and so forth. So if anybody wants to get in touch with me, I'm at davidc@ccr-mag.com. If you're not a subscriber, up on the toolbar, hit the subscribe button. We just had a couple more million people hit our website last month consuming content. So if you have anything cool out there, I don't care if it's a charity golf tournament, you got personnel changes, you have a cool case study, whatever it might be, send it to me. I look at everything, I'll find a spot for it. Very tough to get in touch in the magazine, but we got, I post up every day, and we got people consuming content. So send it to me. And I know I always say it, if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the lottery. So if you don't send me something, I can't look at it. Just like Brian, his publicist reached out to me. I was like, cool, drones. I haven't had someone on drones in a long time. We're going to put them on there. So, if you want to be, get in the magazine or be on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk, send me an email, davidc@ccr-mag.com. So since you're in aviation, I had to pull this out. This was my dad was in the Confederate Air Force. He was a colonel, and he's a part of a B-25 bomber. And anyway, I don't know. I don't even know if this thing even fits me anymore. But this is his old helmet seat, Colonel R.S. Corson, Confederate Air Force.
That's amazing.
I think they changed the name now to be politically correct, but this is his old helmet. And so I grew up with airplanes, and we went to all the air shows and all that stuff. And so it's funny when you said aviation, I'm thinking airplanes, but really, now drones is part of it too. So it's,
it definitely is. Yes.
It's like, hey, I got my wings, I fly. I just stay on the ground and fly,
Exactly. Yeah.
So awesome discussion,
I enjoyed it, David. Yeah, this has been great.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So, when I go and get my drone, when my son and I buy it, I'm going to reach out and say, hey man, these are the three that I think that we're going to get. What do you think? So I'm going to pick your brain for it. So
we have plenty of people that will help you with that decision. Yes. Yeah. We have a lot of people, drone techies that will go into a lot of detail, more than you want, probably.
Yeah, believe me. I mean, my kid, I know he's gonna research. These are the three that we need to get. But I'll say, hey, we're gonna reach out to Brian in Indy, and
give me a call.
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody out there, Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. I thoroughly enjoyed this discussion with Mr. Brian in Indy with DroneUp, and listen, have a great rest of the week. Stay cool. Once again, drink lots of water out there if you're on the construction site, and be safe. And watch out for those drones too, flying around. You never know. And enjoy the rest of the summer. Labor Day is coming in. All of a sudden, it's going to be Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Before you know it, boom, it's 2023. We're going to shut this, shut the book on 2022. It's been an amazing year. I mean, just so much has happened. Every day, something new. I'm so drained by the end of the day. It's just, I got to catch some Z's, but it's been an amazing gig. And, drones. I can't wait to get my toy. I'm going to have to, when I get my toy, I'm going to post it up on LinkedIn and say, hey, got my drone. I'm gonna get my wings, I don't know who's gonna get my wings first, my son or myself, but we went through Taekwondo together, so maybe we'll get our wings together. We'll have to see, but he'll probably get his first. He's over there, Boeing. He'll probably be like, oh no, I'm getting mine. No, you can get yours. You're local there in the ATL. So, well, Brian, thank you so much.
Yeah,
say goodbye from Indy to our audience out there.
See everybody. Everybody have a safe week.
And I'm going to say goodbye from Sugar Hill, Georgia, which is just below the Beaufort Dam on Lake Lanier, 59 miles of coastline, and just north of the ATL, about 30 miles. So with that said, Brian, hope to come up to Indy and meet you in person. No fist pumps. We're going to shake your hand. And all of you out there in Commercial Construction Coffee Talk land, we will see you next time on another episode. And stay cool. Have a great rest of the summer, and we will see you next time. Brian, I'll talk to you, man. All right?
All right.
Thanks so much.
David. Have a good one.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. See ya.